All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started here. Get all my levels kind of dialed in here. Pull the music down a bit. Going live just a little bit early this week. Didn't do any streams during the week because I was on vacation. I was traveling. So I was in Texas seeing my aging grandmother. So that was a good trip. And for people that were interested in me streaming the entirety of Final Fantasy IV, I recorded lots of footage, but I basically got through most of the game while I was on the trip because I had so much fun playing it, especially with my son. He really liked the story and he likes the characters, which I think is probably a point in its favor. And one of the reasons that I remember it so fondly from my childhood is that immediately I could grasp these bigger character archetypes. They're sketched out very quickly when you meet the characters, and you can immediately get a grasp of who they are and what they're about and things like that. So when we met Edge the Ninja, my son immediately grasped everything there was about him, and the interactions of the characters very quickly draw out the character traits of a particular character as well as the other characters' attitudes towards him. That Edge thinks he's a little bit more important than he is, thinks he's a little bit more a badass than he is, and Riddy is always like putting him in his place. All of those little character interactions were very interesting to my son, and he could also grasp most of the gameplay as well, even though the version I'm playing is based on the Japanese version, not the easy type version, which is what we got on the SNES way back in 1991 or 92 or whenever it came out. So anyway, thanks for joining me today. Not a whole lot of people, maybe because I'm starting a little bit early, but I notice people tend to kind of filter in as the stream goes on. Now, I haven't made a piece of content on this, but I do just want to talk about it for a few minutes while people are coming in before we start diving into gameplay and that kind of stuff. That is Gaming Ground Zero. So 2007 is what I call, or what I'm calling, Gaming Ground Zero. 2007 was the year that basically the entire gaming industry had a big shift, and after that you kind of get more of the same and not a whole lot of new stuff. So gameplay and even graphics to a certain extent really peaked in 2007, and what we've had since then is just rehashing of the same old stuff, as well as dumbing down of the things which were really important in 2007. I'm going to find another article related to this by J.D. Cowan that goes into maybe some deeper stuff and points out that it is really about not just the fact that the gameplay really stopped, but you had most game studios closed after 2007. There was a massive shift towards the mega corporate. Basically, bigger studios like EA and Activision started buying everybody up in 2007 and 2008. So we lost almost all of the game studios that you had in the PS2 and prior eras, and instead you were left with just a few behemoths putting out the same kind of no genre open world games over and over again, trying to push graphical fidelity and trying to push gameplay in a direction of basically a list of features rather than a core set of gameplay. So when you play a regular game, you might think, okay, well, this game, if you're playing Fire Emblem, which is a tactical RPG or a strategic RPG, the core gameplay is where are you going to move your guys and how are you going to attack, and then a macro level of what kind of equipment are you putting them on, what kind of skills are you teaching them through all their character interactions and things, and maybe a meta level, who's going to get married to produce the best child unit. That kind of stuff is a set of core gameplay mechanics which define a game like Fire Emblem. What you have now from AAA game studios, other than, say, Nintendo, because Nintendo still sticks to old standards as far as what gameplay is supposed to be, but from AAA studios you get a list of features. Well, our game has to be open world. It has to look photorealistic. You have to be able to, when you kill enemies, you can use their weapons. You have to repair your weapons. You can build new weapons. You need a crafting system. You got to pick flowers because Warcraft had pick flowers. Skyrim had pick flowers. Our game has to have pick flowers to make potions or something. So it just becomes a list of features rather than, NPCs that do this, NPC factions, a dialogue wheel. It just becomes a list of features rather than a set of core gameplay mechanics. All that really started in 2007. And if you look at the games that were released in 2007, it's pretty much the last set of games which formed new franchises. You had Assassin's Creed. Of course, in 2006, with the launch of the Xbox 360, you had Gears of War, and you had Oblivion, both in 2006, and Final Fantasy 12 in 2006. Very big games. But 2007 also gave you just a huge list of games. BioShock. It gave you Call of Duty 4, which basically transformed the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 into 3D shooter consoles. That was the way that people were going to play their shooters, was these modern military shooters. Halo 3 came out. Just an incredible list of games came out in 2007 that when you see the list, you're like, Mass Effect came out in 2007. You're like, well, all the franchises started in 2007, and then you've just had dumbing them down and rehashes of them. And even Assassin's Creed went from a game about assassinating people into a mud genre game. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. It's like, well, now it's open world. It's like, it's just like a bad Skyrim at that point. And what you forget about with a game like the Elder Scrolls, any of the three later Elder Scrolls games, yeah, they're open world. They have huge stuff. They have great systems, though, which underpin them. There's a core RPG element to even Skyrim, even though it's dumbed down. There's core RPG elements. And the world is also rich enough and full of enough lore that you don't get bored of it versus other open world games like most of the Far Cry games, especially after like Far Cry 2. Far Cry 3, they really started to buckle down on this. Far Cry Blood Dragon is actually pretty good, but it's like a roam around an open landscape, taking this base, killing these guys, picking up their weapons. It's just repeat ad nauseum. Crysis came out in 2007. An open world game. It's very heavily a 3D shooter, but all the elements of Crysis start coming in. It's like, next Crysis, let's just add some stuff from the other genres till you get a kind of a muddy no genre kind of game. What's up, Brian? All right. So, yeah, Nintendo really has been changing things up. Nintendo actually does a lot. It's one of the few companies left that pushes innovation in terms of design of their hardware as well as design of the games themselves. Super Mario Odyssey was a very, very good game because of one really simple gameplay addition. Okay, we're going to take the gameplay of 3D Mario, which started with Mario 64. It's not fundamentally very different how you move about in Super Mario Odyssey. It's like, well, we'll let Mario control the bad guys and we'll make puzzles around that. And all of a sudden, it becomes a very fresh and unique and really, really fun and interesting experience. And the collectibles become that much more interesting because there's so much more challenge to finding them all. So many different ways you have to think outside the box in order to actually get all the little collectible moons and, unlock the dark side of the moon and the darker side of the moon, which I think was so fun. Mr. Max Boyven, I worked on many of the titles David mentioned. That is awesome. 2007 was when design really peaked. And after that, you get this kind of corporate cycle. Everything's in the corporate IP death cycle. You're just making sequels and remakes and rehashes of previous stuff. Other than, there's always some big exceptions. There's still great games being made. There were great games made after 2007. But that was when all the big HD games came out, and then everybody just took those and just started copy pasting for 14 years now. It's wild. Yeah, indie's where it's at now. That's where most of the innovation comes because you can't make an open world mud genre game on a limited budget. You have to focus. So if you focus, that means you got to focus and make one gameplay element really good so that the game is interesting enough for a player to play. And that's what makes the game engaging. Now, not everyone's going to like that gameplay element, but that's okay. That's one of the great things about indie development is that you don't have to make a game which is going to somehow appeal to every person. And you don't have to think of like a feature list. Yeah, you get the same thing with MMOs where it's like, all right, MMO, we're coming out with a new MMO. Do you have battlegrounds? Do you have, dungeon queues? Do you have instance dungeons? Do you have loot that has a colored tier system? Do you have this? All the things that World of Warcraft has, it's a feature list that your MMO has to have, or you won't get funding. You won't be able to make it. If you're trying to make a game that was very different from World of Warcraft in terms of mechanics of the way you played it, you end up getting a lot of pushback. Like the original Elder Scrolls Online ended up being pretty much a copy of World of Warcraft. I keep getting these notifications to record my videos. Yes, I know. That's what I'm doing now, phone. So yeah, the copy pasting is part of the reason why I left the industry. Yes, I'm sorry for that, but that's part of it, When Blizzard merged with Activision, we barely got any good games after that. We got Diablo 3, which when it was launched was pretty bad. And then slowly became ingoodened through their process. But StarCraft 2 was a big letdown. StarCraft 2 was the first game I bought from Blizzard where I was really disappointed that I paid money to Blizzard. I felt really upset. I felt like cheated out of my $60. It did not feel like a $60 game. It was so buggy. The graphics were so all over the place. It didn't run well. It was in no way really different from StarCraft 1. The graphics were subpar for how badly it ran. And the campaign was really short. You got 3 times as many single-player maps with the original StarCraft. It was really just a buy-in for people to play multiplayer. And then when you're playing the multiplayer, you're like, this is exactly like StarCraft. So why did I buy this? I could have just played the original StarCraft. And it would actually run better. I work in the game industry as well. Probably haven't been in as long as you, and as an animator, yeah. Animations are important though. We really underrate. I think we tend to underrate aesthetics. For those of us who are kind of outside the mainstream, tend to underrate the importance of like good animations. I would say Final Fantasy 13, since this is a Final Fantasy stream. Final Fantasy 13, in a large part, was saved by its high-quality animations in terms of its character designs were kind of cringy almost in some cases, but the animations were so good that the little combat system where you were queuing up automatic things for your characters to do ended up being really fun because you'd like to just watch them be animated. Like the attack animations were really good, both with the monsters and with the characters themselves. And the cutscenes were really well animated as well. So I think we tend to underrate aesthetics a little bit when we're thinking indie, but I think if you have a good focus, you can still achieve really good 3D aesthetics. It's just, it's not always the focus of like having a big photorealistic open world. A modded Skyrim looks and runs better than most of these open world games, and it was made 10 years ago at this point. Think about that for a minute, We haven't really upped the ante as much as we pretend. All right, let's play a little Final Fantasy IV. You guys are going to be upset how far I got in the game if you were wanting me to play through all of it. But maybe we'll fill the rest of the time with the month. We could start Final Fantasy V, or we can do something like play through the Final Fantasy IV Interlude or the After Years or something. I think the After Years is a little bit boring, but we can look at it. All right, so this is the PSP version, and I want to point out to people that the PSP version is likely going away. You can still buy a physical PSP release of this. Let's go ahead and we can rest for free inside of our whale here. The PSP version is going away as the PS3 PlayStation Store closes down. The PSP and PS Vita PlayStation stores close down. There's no other way to get this except on PSP. And I really like this version aesthetically. I think it looks really good. So anyway, I would say that that's, a good thing to think about getting is this version of the game. Let me see here. Let's go on up here. And actually, I think we're going to go back. Let's go back to Earth. I haven't done the challenge dungeon, so I think I'll do that Here's a good little animation of you going back to the Earth. Actually, let me show you the moon real quick. And we'll go back to the moon. This was the one game in the whole series I was most looking forward to, and it looks like we missed 90% of it. Yeah, pretty much. I'm sorry. I can demo the PC version a little bit. So here's what this version of the moon looks like. You notice that the lunar whale looks very different from the original version. So that's just how it is. It's very different, but it still looks pretty good. Instead of using mode 7 transformation, it uses a little bit different technique to get that, and that's just something that's part of this. I'm gonna go back and I think we can do those. There's 2 optional dungeons that we can do: the Sylph dungeon, and then there's another one. I just froze for a second. There we go. Sorry, it was like great pose to freeze in. Yeah, that's the moon. I haven't uploaded. I recorded a bunch of them on my phone without sound. I'll use them for the like summation video. But I was really, I had a lot of little bits of downtime, and my son really enjoyed playing this game with me, so that's what I did. This is the rearranged score. I do like this PSP version because you can do the arranged score, or you can do the... I don't know where I am, so let's use sight here. Or you can use the... that's where I am. I need to go... Where's the... where is it? Mysidia. Adamant Isle Grotto. Nope. Try to remember where the entrance back to the underworld is. That's where we want to go. I have float now, so that's going to make it a little bit easier. I think it's in that island over there. Go up this way. We need some videos about being dad mode at some point. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, my son really loved the story of it. He liked the characters and all the designs. So, I think let's try this. Let's try this cave first. Let's go and save. Make a new save here. Hopefully we're high enough level. Alright. Let's see here. Magic. Who has float? Is it Rosa that has float? Yeah. There we go. Let's get some treasures. Whoa! Monsters! Let's try flame. Oh no, we got toaded. We're getting turned into toads. And we get untoaded. We get toaded. Let's get that witch. Let's try. Let's see what thunder does. Ribbit. Toad. Well, you can still pray as a toad, though. Check it out. That's kind of cool. See, it's so funny. Like, they're toading and untoading me. Look at the toad, like, with its mouth open, praying. Getting ready to pray here. Well, that didn't do much. we'll just start killing stuff. Totally worth it. Toad. Yeah, these guys don't really do that much. They just like are casting Toad over and over again. Like, I'm not losing any health. Let's just knock down some of the... Just attack this person. Love to hear some of your experience and advice on gaming and internet consumption with your kids and how you handle it. Well, you know, I use the internet with my son for, like, learning purposes. You know, because there's a lot of information. So if my son wants to learn about, I don't know, something, we can look it up and see what's there. Let's see some pictures of mummies. Let's see some pictures of the pyramids, right? All that stuff is good on the internet. There we go, Toad. Untoad my guys, please. Apparently I can still use... I can untoad myself. I could cast Toad as Toad. That's interesting. I turned her into a toad! Ribbit. Prayer unanswered. The poor Toad. Kind of see if they'll wait to just cast Toad some more. Maybe not. Maybe because I turned her into a toad, like she can't command the other frogs or something. Whatever, I'll just kill this toad real quick. Let's untoad our guys. It's the no use spell. Bog toads. Toad. What happens if I cast Toad on the toad? Let's find out. Does it turn it into a person? Nope, does nothing. Alright, but that was interesting though. We got a maiden's kiss at least. Have a maiden's kiss? I think I have a bunch of these. We'll just use these. Save some mana. Cast float, and then the poison, like the poison bog, doesn't hurt you if you cast float. So that's helpful. So you can just kind of walk over the poison. Ah, more toads. Let's kill them real quick. No, I got toaded. Hit it for one. All right. Bog Witch. She cast Toad on herself? Interesting. That's interesting. There's got to be like a hidden passage here somewhere. Oh. The encounter rate is like the Japanese version. It's very high. Oh, no, not bad breath. Let's even just run away from this guy. 3 Marlboros. Oh, and I'm mini. No, you know, we need to use Asuna. There we go. I don't think you can go through the wall here. Yeah! Evil Dreamers. Let's see what these guys do for, like, Blizzaga. There we go. These have a lot of health. Are the enemy toads immune to Toad? I don't know. I mean, we should cast Toad on him and see. Or like cast Reflect on the party and see if like what happens when they Toad themselves. They portrayed it in a darker light. A lot of Final Fantasy monsters would be horrifying. Oh yeah, I think this one looks pretty horrifying. One thing I like about this version is that they redrew some of the like Lamia sprites so that they're like, you know, they're like sexy looking girls, which is kind of very Japanese, like the Monster Girls thing. But when they cast something like Entice, when they charm your guys, you kind of get it. Same thing with the vampires, like the sexy vampires. It makes sense. It's something they wouldn't have put in the original version of the game. I mean, the original American version, because, you know, if you don't know, like, Nintendo of America is very heavy-handed on censorship. So it's just the thing. You know, you're not going to get a lot of that stuff in older games, at least intentionally. They even used to take out all Christian imagery and things like that. I think if you kill the Bog Witch, she won't ribbit at the frogs anymore. Yeah, when she does ribbit, that's when everybody gets toaded. My video froze again for some reason. Camera might be acting up today. So, I mean, going back to the things in my, like, talk about, like, kids on the internet. My kids don't really use the internet unless I'm using it with them. Ever. They just don't do it. Now, we have DVDs and stuff that they can watch. I generally keep that pretty limited. For obvious reasons. Like, you don't want your kids to get in the habit of consuming passive media constantly. That's really not good for them. Let me just wait here. Let all the toads happen. A turbo button would be nice for these little encounters. None of my kids are old enough to be using the internet on their own anyway. One of my policies I will probably have once they are old enough is computers are only in common areas. So direct observation is the order of the day. This was something that I knew from being a public school teacher, is that expecting technology to do the business of policing what your kids are doing online is a really bad idea. It's not going to work. You have to physically see their computer screens. So all classrooms that are, you know, set up with computers in them, it should be the instructor's computers at the back, and you can see every monitor at any given time. That's the only way to set up a classroom with computers and be able to make sure that kids are using the computers appropriately. Dragon Warrior 3 got delayed by about 6 months back in the NES days for a new round of changes that included changing the priest class to Pilgrim, among other things. Yeah, I believe that. Somehow Legend of Zelda got through with the cross shield, though. But they, you know, you had a book of magic instead of the Bible, for instance. It was originally a Bible. I don't know why that was such a thing, but it was. And why it was Christian imagery so specifically. Oh, well, that was great. She toaded herself. All right. I do like in Final Fantasy III how you do have to transform into a toad to do certain dungeons. Like, to get past certain things, you have to turn yourself into a toad. And one of the characters will protest, I don't want to be a toad. Which way did I come in? I don't know. Let's see if we can just run away from this. I don't have to spend so much time on that stupid encounter. Oh, a back attack of toads. You don't even take damage. That's what's funny. It's just like the casting rivets. You know, casting toads at me. Concept art for Link to the Past has Link kneeling in front of a crucifix. Hyrule's a Christian nation. Yeah. They changed churches to clinics in Final Fantasy 1, yeah. I'm so glad that we're kind of past that. I think if you like spam attack, you could probably kill off a lot of the toads. Now, I figured out with the dungeon that has the living doors, if you spam attack really fast, you can kill the door before it does summons a boss or does anything like that. Ribbit. It's a symbol that's very easily misunderstood to the point that Nintendo had to include a disclaimer in later guides to the original Zelda. Really? Oh, Dragon Warrior 3 had a manji removed from the Shrine of Dharma. Yeah, there's one of the dungeons is shaped like a swastika in the original Legend of Zelda. And in Eastern traditions, the swastika does not mean the same things that it does in the West. Like, there's no association with some specific bad political ideology. In fact, it's more associated with various Eastern religions. It's kind of sad that a symbol like the swastika has just become something I think that's actually illegal in Germany. One. Gets more toads. I love the little, like, waiting sprite for, like, the frogs. And I love that the frogs are all different colors in this version. Ribbit. It's paralyzed. Oh, we could pray. I just have yet to see a prayer answered from the frog, you know. You pray to, like, the toad god, and maybe she'll give you some health. So anyway, I wonder if there's anything else to talk about with kids. You know, I usually, before I let my kids watch something new, I kind of figure out what that thing is. This is just general stuff. I think the harder thing is when kids are older and you have to kind of trust that they're not gonna be doing things that are too far out, you know. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and use no, we don't need to use this. Let's do Samaridia's Toad magic. How much is this? How much does this use? 7. There we go. See if I can, like... See how quickly... See if we can, like, actually... Ah! Wait, does the bad breath undo itself? That would be interesting. Luckily, if he's a toad, he can't really do anything. It just, let's, we'll do a summon right there. Oh, he's dead! That's interesting. See if I think they're weak to fire. Yeah, the witch turned herself into a frog after all her frogs are dead. These things have a ton of health. I can't like get him up. I'll raise him again, why not? Okay. Yeah, we should just like run away from these encounters. Like these are just gonna waste our mana and our time. See if we can get away. Yeah, these are just gonna waste our time. And we can get all of our XP from the other stuff. In D&D, werewolves are men that turn into wolves. Wolf wearers were wolves that turn into men. So these things are kind of fire aspected. I wonder what... I think I'm going to run Libra on them. Let's get that... It's got a bestiary. I can just do it that. Figure out what these guys are weak to. 2800, no weaknesses. Well, that's useful. Let's just summon something big here. Werefrog, since were used to mean man. They've got similar disclaimer on old images of the Corn Palace. Sleep. Evil dreamers are healed by fire. Well, let's find out. It said no weaknesses, but it didn't show me like what they were. Oops, we gotta get him up. Yeah, we're getting our butt kicked by these guys. Get more of those toads. What point about the Pope? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Let's see if we can get through this encounter. Like, this is really brutal, though. I have to run away from a lot of these. Save a little mana in case we have to, like, teleport out, you know? I didn't mention the Pope. Not today. Let's try Blizzaga. Oh, Francis derangement syndrome. Yeah. So I've noticed this thing that happens. I think I said this in the Discord at some point, and I've said it on stream before too. If Brian's watching, he can elaborate because I'm stealing his term, which is Francis derangement syndrome. So people, it's kind of a form of Gale amnesia syndrome where people forget the nature of the media. They're like, the media lies about everything. And then they see a story about Pope Francis being like a communist or something. And they're like, the Pope's a communist. What's going on? You know, without thinking like, oh, perhaps the media is actually not telling me the truth about the Pope. Like, why would they tell you the truth about the Pope and nothing else? And this just goes like deeper and deeper. It's like this idea that he rewrote the Our Father or something like that. Or the... you know, there was a guy who, you know, with the Amazon Synod, they were looking at, this has to do with folk Catholicism, which is something that I'm not an expert in and I don't have time to get into. But, you know, they had these statues, which are from their culture. Oops, I need to cast float. And somebody like grabbed him and threw him in the Tiber River. And they're like, well, you know, Pope Francis was worshiping this idol or something. It's like, you know, it's like, where'd you get your information from? Oh, well, this pagan website. I got my information from this pagan website that talks about paganism. Do you think that they are actually portraying what happened correctly? You know, did you read what the church said about it? Did you read it from any other kind of source? No, I just took wholesale that Pope Francis venerated pagan idols from the Amazon, or, you know, did something like that. He like, without really thinking about why those were there or what the context of that was at all. At least she's asleep this time. But there's so many other ones too. Now, it's kind of interesting because Pope Francis, before he was Pope, was like, I can't wait to speak with the media. I'm going to speak to the media constantly. 1 year after being Pope, he would not give interviews. Now, why do you think that was the case? Do you think that was because the media was portraying what he said correctly or incorrectly? Well, probably because they were doing what they do to everybody, which is take a couple of the things that they say out of context to change their meaning. Now, if I were to sit down with Pope Francis, he and I would probably have many disagreements about the nature of politics, especially. But, or like saying like Pope Francis is a heretic or something. As far as I know, he has never had any kind of heresy spoken from the seat. And even then, like, popes can speak as private theologians, things which would be considered heresy or heretical. It's happened in the past. Let's actually do pray, save some mana. So yeah, Francis derangement syndrome is where literally everything that comes out about Francis, they believe the worst possible thing from that the media says to believe, and then they so they always assume the worst intent. It's kind of like Trump derangement syndrome. Oh, he died. And then they let's get him up. You know, but then they never bother to look a little bit deeper into context or anything like that. It's like the Pope is bad. There's an anti-Pope. The Pope is gonna, you know, he's a Jesuit and he's like a homosexual, and you know, they just go way overboard on this kind of stuff. And there's whole YouTube channels that do this sort of thing. Some of which I watched in the past before I started thinking a little bit more critically about what kind of messages they were putting out. See, and this is what I'm talking about. Francis and his ilk speak privately and push their private ideas as if they were de jure articles of faith. Give me an example. You won't be able to give one. Let's get... let's actually pump him up. It's like, Francis did this. Show me where he did that. Well, I can't show you where he did that. Or I'm not going to do your homework for you. I don't know why there's like people on the right that are so afflicted by Pope Francis. Or you could say, well, you know, he's not my favorite pope. Where am I going? There's got to be a way into this. Yeah? There we go. All right. Found another way up here. Ooh. Poison. It's like, be specific if you're going to make accusations about, oh, he speaks as if this is, you know, in Catholicism, the Pope saying something doesn't mean that that is the dogma of the church, or that he's pretending that's the dogma of the church. Especially if he makes like a political statement or says something about this or that. And most of the time he's going to be misquoted or his stuff taken out of context, like they do with everybody. They do this with everybody. So why do you assume they're not doing it with Pope Francis? Throws around theological terms while having no idea what they mean. He'd say he does this on a daily basis. Give one example of what the heck you're talking about. I notice it a lot, not from like sedevacantist types, but like from Protestants especially. A lot of Protestants, especially non-denominational or Baptist type Protestants, tend to have this really, I don't know, this deranged view of not just Francis, but the entire Catholic Church. So they'll point to something like Santa Muerta, which is actually something that's condemned as heretical, and be like, see, Catholics like worship demonic skull deities. It's like, they don't. Catholics worship Mary. No, they don't. Francis's biggest flaw is not looking like Emperor Palpatine. Benedict had it right. When I look at some of the things, like, for instance, you know, I point out Pope Francis stopped giving interviews. When he was giving interviews to people in the media, all the people that I knew of, all the normies that weren't devout or didn't believe in God, they're like, "This is my favorite pope ever." I'm like, "This is a problem. This must be like a bad pope, that so many bad people like him." But then they've all changed their tune because the media can't misquote him as much as they used to. You know, and he confirms Catholic, whenever he confirms Catholic theology, there's just like a hissy fit in the media. Like, I thought this guy was one of us, and here he is confirming Catholic dogma that's been standard for over 1,000 years, you know. And this is a very easy encounter. It's just so annoying. Like spam. I read online that Benedict used force lightning on some birds or something. A lot of people come up with a lot of behind-the-scenes conspiracy theories. I don't know what... There's like a Catholic conspiracy theory thing. Benedict was forced to step down as Pope by like this purple mafia because, you know, he was too theologically correct, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or he had to force down because of this banking scandal that happened. People love to like theorize what's going on without having any of the facts behind it. It's like, I get the sense that people like read Vox Day's blog, and he's not Catholic, but he loves to talk about how bad the Pope is. And just kind of take that line as given without really thinking about it. Oh, I missed this chest. Maiden's Kiss. All right, into the hole we go. Oh, nope. Forgot float. Dang it. Not to get on a rant, like I can't name every little thing, but you got to be real specific if you are going to be leveling accusations about that kind of thing. And then if you're not Catholic, so what? You know, you believe what's your belief about the Pope that he has to be saying the things that you want him to say? Whoa, Sylph's cash. Oh, no! I'll trade 500 gil. How much do I have? I have 281,000 gil. I think we're doing okay on gil. There we go. Rose is starting to run out of mana, though. Monsters! Oh, great. The Vatican has a Stargate to the moon. They forbid the American Protestants on holy lunar soil. Oh, that worked good. Get this health pumped up. Edge is gonna die. It's too edgy. Let's do this again. Big heals, big heals. I remember like a joke start, what was it, South Park, where they like go to the Vatican and there's like a spider queen and like they're like, can we just like get back to being normal? It's like I think that's how a lot of people view Rome. It's like Rome is like some bizarre, like secret place. I think, let's try dragon. We'll do that. I think if we clear this place out, we get a cool summon. Yeah, see, I agree with Brian. Like, he's definitely to the left of me. You know, I don't know about sloppy theologically because I'm not a theology expert or anything like that. I think one of the reasons he stopped giving interviews was he was being misquoted so much that it was becoming apparent that anything he said was being promoted by the media as some specific Catholic teaching, which that's not the case. Those things happen. Oh, great, more monsters. Those things happen through more formal means. I don't know if I can run away from this. I don't think I can. Oh, great. Happens right after I queue up the attack. Francis has failed to reestablish the Papal States in Italy. Worst pope ever. Oh, that audience hall in the Vatican is really weird looking. I know the one you're talking about. I mean, that's basically cursed modern aesthetics right there. Oh boy, this is gonna be bad. Probably gonna get a game over here. What can we do here? We gotta get someone up. We gotta get Edge up here. Bad breath is really bad. Like, it's truly a bad thing. Oh boy. Everybody's out of mana. We need to get out of here quick. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna make it, guys. Can't escape. Okay. Oh boy. Gotta get this guy up. Riddy is about to die. Oh my gosh. Let me teleport out of here. Yeah, we're gonna get a game over right now. Oh, well. That's a little tough. Oh, well. We failed. We failed. We failed. We'll try it again. I think the hard part, like, this is one of those difficult things. I think there's another one that I can do here. The, not the Sylph Cave. I think there's a Passage of the Eidolons. So... I'm gonna try that one instead. I don't remember where it is though. I think it's out in the middle of an island. So let's try that one. Because this one was pretty brutal. We'll try the Eidolons one. I don't know if that one's harder or easier. It's out somewhere in the middle of the lava. It's the way back up. Bum ba dum ba dum bum ba dum bum. All right. We have float. We need to use it. All right. I passed here when I left the Fey March. Perhaps we should ask Leviathan for help. Oh, wait, this is where we can get the Leviathan summon, I guess. High potion. We'll see how these monsters stack up in here. Phoenix down. Ooh, look at this sexy spider. Straight out of an R.A. Salvatore book. Earthquake. It's not really doing anything. Alright. Either, that's nice. Nether spider. Oof, floating eyes. These guys hit pretty hard. Let's try Lazara. Gaze. He gazed at me. There he goes. 420. It's stunned, I guess. That's what that is. The arrows should hit harder on flying mobs, but maybe not. There we go again. Summoner. Summoned a butterfly. I think we got this summoner. Apparently there's a spider isekai airing this season. Just when I thought it couldn't get any weirder. Reborn as a spider! Cecil leveled up. Alright. Spell Knights. I don't remember which one is like ice. I think it's Shiva. Love your bug people video, by the way. Yeah, I started as an article. I need to do one on like Republican bugmen, because there are Republican bugmen. Just we're kind of trained to not think of them. It's like the dude who he'll watch the NFL until he's dead, or NASCAR. You know, he'll talk endlessly about like equality of means, or like how important it is for the economy to do this or that. He listens to the economic experts, not the health experts. It's the same Bugman, it's just like a different variety. He also lives in a city, just maybe not in a pod, you know. He's a little better off. Oh, he hit himself in the face. That's unfortunate. Did you see the Intel bleep that allows people to toggle the N-word on and off, as well as misogyny, name-calling, racism, and xenophobia? What is this? An Intel bleep. I haven't seen that. Your video really helped my buddy who just discovered all the coworkers at his new job are bugmen. Well, I'm glad. Oh, now she's confused. BoomerCon bugmen. Yeah, BoomerCons are basically like Republican bugmen. Oh, no. I think it's easier to... He cast Libra on himself. That's great. Vulnerable to ice. Let's attack Cecil. Oh, great! It's curing the demon for one. There you go. Oh, I cast it on the wrong person. Dang it. Misclick. $7,000 XP. That's a lot. Like, there's definitely a lot of XP going out here. So that's good. Let's use some of these, no, let's use some of these high potions. I need to just like, oops, I need to just come in here with like a bunch of high potions. It might be something I do. If I fail more, which I might, then I might just like go buy 100 high potions, because I can. And then that'll probably help the mana issue quite a bit. I think when you have float, the earthquake can't hit. This is like a really good mob, because this mob just casts earthquake, and because we have float on, it just doesn't do any damage. That's great. Atheists who think libertarian flavored conservatism is the best way to get legal prostitution and low taxes. Let's go here. Oh, nope. Remember, float. All right, here we go. Treasure chest, high potion. Well, that's helpful. Bup. Oh, the summoner. Oh, perfect. She can't hit us with the earthquake. It was the Intel showcase for the GDC 2021 showcase, showing off their new features. Apparently they're going hard in the safe space area. For what product? Like, what product can bleep you or not? Like, I don't know what product they were showing. Yeah, like the left-wing Bugman is like a social justice ideologue. He like religiously believes in that. The right-wing Bugman just is all economics. It's like everything should be to maximize this mythical entity called the economy. Everything you do should help the economy. And if it's bad for the economy, it's bad. It's just a different form of idolism. You know, you're making the economy into some sort of idol. If it's good for the economy, if we do the right things for the economy, we'll all be given wealth and happiness. Yeah, what is this product, though, that bleeps you? I don't know what the product is. I guess that's my question. What's the product? Intel software? What is this Thunder Dragon? I think I might have missed some treasure, but it doesn't really matter that much. Apparently, it is not vulnerable to frost. Maybe it's a voice chat program. I mean, that's some fast processing if it's able to like hear you and then bleep you in real time. Chat filters are nothing new for, like, written things. It'd be something kind of new for, like, spoken things. Did you find the twins yet? I don't think... Oh, yeah, we already did the twins. They already turned themselves to stone. The whole thing. I don't know. I think eventually you can get them back or something. I don't remember. Okay, he's only summoning Thunder Dragons. So, yeah, we definitely need to kill this summoner first here. The product is called Bleep. I wonder if we can put it to sleep. Let's try that. I don't think that worked. There we go. Now we can kill this Thunder Dragon. Wealth and happiness are not as linked as many believe. I think you have to have like a minimum amount. Like if you're not having your physical needs met, then it's hard to be happy. It's hard to be happy while you're experiencing like famine. But having lots of money doesn't necessarily make you happier. In fact, I would say one of the most unhappy people I ever met was the richest person I ever met. I've met rich people who were happy, but definitely the least happy person that I remember was also the richest. trying to use money constantly to fill that void that should be there with things that are actually worth living for, like companionship and love and things like that. Oh no! Oh, these guys are gonna rock my world. Let's see if I can edge, escape. There we go. There we go. These guys shouldn't be too bad. Actually, let's do, I think, Shiva. I'm only happy when my dogs play with me, which is all the time when I'm home. Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to be happy if you, if you are constantly anxious about the future because you have so little money or you're so insecure. You can't really enjoy leisure, or you can't feel good having any leisure time if you are not going to pay the rent. So once your basic stuff's taken care of, it's pretty easy to justify leisure time. And therefore have a lot of happiness. I think a lot of happiness is being able to do things which matter. Which, for a lot of people, is leisure time. I always found it kind of annoying that they called the Protestant work ethic the Protestant work ethic. Like, there's something endemic to Protestantism. It's like, if you're a Protestant, you're going to work harder. I think these summoners summon different creatures on every floor. On this floor, it's a Thunder Dragon. My guess is that I still haven't played Zelda Breath of the Wild because I always get stressed out. I should be doing blank right now. Yeah. One of the things that I know personally is I won't be able to sleep if I'm not... if I don't do something fun before I go to sleep, like play a game or read a book, I won't be able to sleep. So it's like part of my routine is to do things like play games. But if you feel like you are not where you need to be economically and you could do something in that moment to improve it, it's pretty hard to turn things off. And considering my my profession is an independent one where I could be working anytime I want, it's really hard to turn it off. You have to make an effort to say no, I'm going to actually say that's enough work for today. I didn't do any work on my vacation. I usually bring stuff to do work, and I did this time, brought computer to do work on. I didn't do any work, and it was probably good. It's probably good to sometimes not do work for a few days. I had a buddy who got a big inheritance. A couple years later, he was 30 pounds overweight, 30,000 in debt, and miserable. It happens. I want to use all the mana up. I don't know if there's any good weapons in these. Ooh, there is a secret passage though. That is cool. I wonder where that leads to. Monster in a box. See if we get anything good out of this. Oh boy, we're gonna get rocked here. Summon something big here. Big heals. Blitz. I think for many, leisure time is not that enjoyable. Many have hobbies just to fill their free time. Family, friends, and community is where it's at. Yeah, and it's one of the reasons that I liked MMOs so much back in the day is like it came with the social aspect attached, you know. Popped up here. Oh boy. Defender. Let's check that sword out. See if it's better than my lustrous sword. It is. A little bit better. I think the Mythgraven blade becomes like a better sword. Alright. We're starting to run out of magic here. I have to start using those high potions to get out of this dungeon. People who rightly fear the government grabbing their guns also see banning drugs wouldn't work. Well, I mean, we have data from Prohibition that basically tells you that Prohibition worked as far as it got people to stop drinking. People drank significantly less, even after Prohibition ended, than they did before Prohibition. The amount of alcohol consumption went down even with the fact that people still... you know, still drank, people still went to speakeasies, people made alcohol, people found ways to get their alcohol, for sure. But did it actually affect the amount that they drank? And the answer is yes, it did. This is something that you have to actually be intellectually honest about these things. And I found that, you know, people, they have trouble being honest when it comes to Prohibition. Now, the arguments against Prohibition are really just practical ones, which is that it costs a lot of money to do Prohibition. It criminalizes a lot of behavior that isn't necessarily criminal on its own. And it allows a lot of infringement of people's rights. Oh, we made it to the Fey March. Rydia, you have returned. Let's see here. Oh, increases max MP. Let's use that on... I think we get Rydia always all the way to the end, so let's use that on her. And then this one is probably good for Cecil because he has cover. So that's probably best used for Cecil. Alright. I don't know if I can rest here and maybe get silence off of me. You're the first human other than Rydia to ever come here. Oh, there's a chest there. Can we... I'm going to walk over this thing and it's going to make me go back to a dungeon though. So let me look around a bit more. You know, the actual proper, what I would say the proper libertarian argument against, ooh, getting all kinds of good stuff here, against banning drugs is simply that people have a right to determine what they are going to put in their bodies. And that includes what substances they're going to put in their bodies. You know, you have mastery over your body. It's really your... Oh, no! No! Oh, man. That is... I didn't get all the treasure out of there. Oh, that sucks. Alright. I didn't get the summon or the treasure, so that means I have to do it again. So that sucks. But we can go stay in our spaceship, I guess. That sucks. Good night. Okay, it's almost 2 o'clock, which means it's really time for me to hang it up. But we did the dungeon. We got through the dungeon. We just... we just accidentally exited before we could get all the items, so we'll have to do it again. It's okay, it'll level us up more, I guess. Alright. Okay, guys. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it here. You can listen to this cool music. I do appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me for a while. And I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The trip was great. Got to see my grandma. She's 93. Hardbacks are now available for Water of Awakening and Needle Ash. I think I'm going to wait to do the hardback on Muramasa because I think I'm going to do a... Ooh, sorry. I think I'm going to do a new cover that'll look pretty cool. So, but you can get both of these in hardback if you want a hardback of them now. And I will keep everybody... Make sure you're on my mailing list, dvspress.com/list. I think you still get a free book. And I'll keep you posted on the next book, which should be coming as soon as I can finish editing it. So we'll get on that, and I'll let you know what's going on with that. And I will see you all next time. I do appreciate it, and I hope you guys will have a great day. Remember to be critical of the media. Just because they're saying something which resonates with you, that doesn't mean that they are correct about it, okay? They're going to lie about everything. They're going to lie about the things that you know about and know that they're lying. They're also going to lie about the things that you maybe are not an expert in as well. So don't forget that. That's my message to you all, and I'll see you all next time.